In this topic, we will explore profound spiritual truths and ancient predictions. Are you prepared? Check out our channel. Join us today as we delve into the topic of the leader of the New World Order is about to be revealed. According to biblical theory, we will be studying biblical prophecies that foretell major world events, including the rise of a strong leader who may have a profound effect on our spiritual lives and everyday lives. Whether you're well-versed in spiritual studies or are only beginning to delve into the prophecies found in the Bible, this debate is meant to provide you wisdom. As we delve into these old prophecies, we will think about what they mean for the present and what the future holds. In addition to shedding light on these enigmatic predictions, this investigation will establish links between them and larger spiritual and global settings. So if you want more information to help you on your spiritual path, subscribe to our channel and stay tuned as we go into these subjects more. Come with us on this illuminating journey as we solve the riddles that have baffled thinkers and doers of faith for ages. The significance of prophecy in contemporary faith. A key thread connecting the past, present, and future is prophecy in the fabric of contemporary spirituality. As the world's events unfold, it urges believers to look beyond the limitations of time and see the hand of God at work. Members of the faith now take an active role in studying prophecy in an effort to understand its meaning for their own spiritual development, rather than merely waiting for the old prophecies to come true. A powerful figure, frequently depicted as the Antichrist, is said to come to power at the center of prophecy, which also foretells major changes on a worldwide scale. An important figure in biblical prophecy, this mysterious leader is about to bring about a sea change that will determine how people develop spiritually. Understanding these prophecies goes beyond conjecture for believers. It calls them to spiritual vigilance, encouraging them to act in harmony with eternal truths despite the passing of time. A key thread connecting the past, present, and future is prophecy in the fabric of contemporary spirituality. As the world's events unfold, it urges believers to look beyond the limitations of time and see the hand of God at work. Members of the faith now take an active role in studying prophecy in an effort to understand its meaning for their own spiritual development, rather than merely waiting for the old prophecies to come true. A powerful figure, frequently depicted as the Antichrist, is said to come to power at the center of prophecy, which also foretells major changes on a worldwide scale. An important figure in biblical prophecy, this mysterious leader is about to bring about a sea change that will determine how people develop spiritually. Understanding these prophecies goes beyond conjecture for believers. It calls them to spiritual vigilance, encouraging them to act in harmony with eternal truths despite the passing of time. Thus, prophecy is a lighthouse that also reflects the intricacies of our contemporary society. It teaches its adherents that worldly power is fleeting and that spiritual virtues are everlasting. It challenges people to face the turbulent waters of modern life with unfaltering faith and conviction, and it encourages contemplation and self-reflection. Furthermore, the sharing of prophecies unites believers in a common cause, creating ties of camaraderie and encouragement. The different experiences and viewpoints of spiritual searchers create a collective tapestry as they join forces in their pursuit of understanding. They go forth on an adventure of discovery together, deciphering the meaning of long-lost prophecies and books. Ultimately, the significance of prophecy in contemporary spirituality goes beyond conjecture. It is a deep call to contemplate the heavenly enigmas that mold our reality. Prophecy is a reliable lighthouse that Christians can use to find their way across the ever-shifting seas of doubt and change, leading them to greater spiritual understanding and the everlasting truths. Telltale indicators of the current era. Many people in the field of biblical prophecy see the current state of the world as a precursor to the end times, particularly the establishment of a new world order. In order to traverse the spiritual and moral complications that may accompany these prophecies, it is necessary for people who follow them to recognize and understand the indications. Consider the biblical prophecies regarding the signs that would herald the arrival of a world leader: economic instability, political turmoil, and social unrest. Believers are led to contemplate how they might respond in accordance with their spiritual principles, which in turn motivates them to make decisions and take actions that foster compassion, justice, and peace. In addition, some may see the exponential development of technologies like AI and monitoring systems as signs that these will one day be utilized to manipulate whole populations. This view promotes a middle ground between technological advancement and individual privacy by calling for prudence and thoughtful consideration of the potential ethical consequences of such technology. Also noteworthy are environmental calamities, such as natural disasters and the effects of climate change. A world leader may be able to garner unprecedented support in the midst of these crises, which frequently prompt demands for international cooperation. From a spiritual perspective, these difficulties provide opportunities to renew pledges to care for the planet, drawing attention to the link between spiritual well-being and environmental protection. Another indicator could be a general trend away from traditional moral principles and towards secularism in society. According to this point of view, these changes could make people more open to following a charismatic leader who claims to have the answers to our moral and spiritual problems. This reading encourages rejecting simplistic solutions to difficult challenges and returning to fundamental spiritual principles. Christians can ethically and spiritually ready themselves for the changes these indications herald by keeping an eye out for them. In addition to being mindful of these difficulties, this proactive strategy stresses the need of actively developing a spiritual life that can survive and even flourish in the face of them. The metaphysical importance of world peace. Spiritually weighty are the implications of the concept of universal unification, which is frequently linked to the idea of a new world order. Promoting international harmony and collaboration via unity is, on the one hand, an admirable objective. But when seen through the lens of biblical prophecy, it could be seen as setting the stage for the ascension of a deceitful world leader. Thus, one should proceed with caution. The spiritual implications of the current trend toward global government prompt us to weigh the merits of individual autonomy against those of group effort. It prompts serious reflection on the nature of genuine unity, asking whether it is primarily political or rooted in deeper moral and spiritual values. Unity, as this discourse argues, is based on shared spiritual principles like compassion, respect, and dignity for all people, and goes beyond political boundaries. Instead of seeing a political organization that could try to force unity on people at the cost of freedom, it invites believers to see a worldwide society that respects these principles. For Christians, the idea of unity in prophecy is a discernment test that compels them to question the goals of global integration initiatives. Is the need for power and control motivating these movements, or is it true altruism and peace? Spiritual people who value honesty and transparency in leadership positions must give serious consideration to this subject. By supporting policies and leaders that demonstrate both political savvy and spiritual understanding, the spiritual community may also greatly influence the idea of global unity. The conviction that spiritual values are the sole means to an end, real unity and peace, forms the basis of this advocacy. Taking a spiritual look at the concept of global unity entails doing more than just keeping an eye on current events. It also means actively working to create a world that is more in line with the highest spiritual objectives of peace and prosperity for all. Spiritual deceit, a difficult problem. One of the greatest spiritual obstacles to the emergence of the New World Order leader, as foretold, is the prevalence of deceit in this context. According to Scripture, this leader will have charismatic traits that, if not watched closely, can lead even the most pious people astray. This presents a significant challenge to spiritual discernment, which is the capacity to perceive beyond outward manifestations to the fundamental realities. Spiritual deceit is notoriously difficult to spot since it is so subtle and enticing. It frequently weaves truth and fiction together, giving the impression that the latter is more plausible. This calls on people of religion and those seeking spiritual enlightenment to stay deeply linked to their spiritual communities for mutual support and instruction, and to continually deepen their comprehension of the teachings of their respective faiths. The practice of discernment goes beyond just identifying false teachers or leaders. It also includes making decisions every day that are in line with spiritual truths instead of what is popular or convenient. In other cases, this may need taking a road less traveled by, but more in line with cultural norms and spiritual principles. Societal trends and ideologies can be deceitful as well, drawing populations away from spiritual truths. Some examples of such ideas are materialism and secularism, which seek to divide people rather than bring them together in true harmony. In order to keep one's spiritual integrity, one must critically and deliberately engage with these developments. To be ready to face deceit, one must develop a close relationship with God via study, meditation, and prayer. By strengthening their spiritual convictions and fortifying themselves against false influences, these actions help individuals remain rooted in their spiritual path. They also help people find other Christians so that they can stand together against the devil's schemes. Getting ready for spiritual challenges. It is evident that believers may encounter great spiritual tribulations if we consider the coming of a new world order as foretold in the Bible. These challenges may put their faith, strength, and moral principles to the ultimate test. If one wants to keep their spiritual health in check and make sure their behaviors are in line with spiritual values, they must adequately prepare for these challenges. Having a thorough comprehension of what these challenges may entail is the first step in being prepared. Studying religious scriptures that describe the end times, talking about these interpretations with wise spiritual leaders, and keeping up with world events that mirror these prophecies are the main ways that one gains this knowledge. Such training not only aids in anticipating difficulties, but also in developing methods for overcoming them. In the event that prophecies foretell a period of pervasive deceit, for example, Christians might prepare themselves to recognize truth from lies so that their deeds are consistent with their faith. Developing a strong spiritual foundation is another essential part of becoming ready. A person can strengthen their spiritual resilience through engaging in regular spiritual activities like fasting, prayer, scripture study, and communion with other believers. Similar to how physical exercise strengthens the body, these acts serve as spiritual workouts, building the individual's faith. These pursuits, when continued over time, strengthen one's inner life to the point that they may persevere through spiritual trials without wavering. In times of difficulty, they serve as sources of spiritual strength for people. It is impossible to exaggerate the value of fellowship in enduring spiritual challenges. There is more than just material assistance and moral support available in a caring spiritual community. It strengthens the dedication of each member to spiritual concepts by providing a network of shared beliefs and collective wisdom. People draw strength from both their individual faith and the faith and deeds of their community. When you're up against challenges that you could seem too big to handle on your own, having the support of your community can be an incredible boon. Even in the face of spiritual adversity, it is essential to remain morally upright. Predicted as they may be, the difficulties of the end times may cause some to lower their moral standards, especially in the face of pervasive moral degradation. Establishing firm boundaries and standing firm in one's spiritual and ethical beliefs are preparations for facing these challenges with unfaltering integrity. In order to keep one's acts in line with one's most profound spiritual principles, It is helpful to regularly evaluate oneself and hold oneself accountable to one's community. Last but not least, it is critical to encourage faith and hope in God's purpose. Spiritual hardships can be difficult, but they can also be chances to grow and strengthen your faith. Viewing these events through the lens of a greater divine journey, guided by a wisdom beyond our comprehension, is encouraged for believers. With this outlook, they are able to persevere through adversity, knowing that everything happens for a reason, and that this is part of God's plan. Each of these factors is essential for the perseverance of Christians through the tribulations of the end times and their subsequent spiritual growth as a result of their fidelity to God's will. Faith and hope, a dynamic duo. As they face the challenges of the predicted New World Order and the rise of a world leader, Christians depend on hope and faith as their guiding principles. These aren't merely theoretical notions, they are robust influences that mold our perspective and behavior, particularly during periods of chaos and uncertainty. Faith in a better future, even in the face of adversity, is what gives us hope, which is like a beacon in the night. Goodness will ultimately triumph, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Keeping our spirits up and our minds on the possibilities rather than the constraints is what it means to hold on to hope. It encourages us to keep going even when the conditions are tough and the path ahead appears long and difficult. Hope rests firmly on the rock of faith. Faith is the firm belief that the cosmos exists for a reason and that our individual lives have significance beyond what we perceive. When we have faith, we know that no matter what happens, we are not going through this ordeal alone. When we realize that there are forces at work that we cannot comprehend, it gives us the strength to face the unknown. Faith and hope work hand in hand to give us the strength to hope for the future and not give up. They equip us to face adversity head-on and find the silver lining in any cloud. In a world where things can appear bleak and unpredictable at times, we shine brightest when we make hope and faith a part of who we are. Hope and faith also motivate us to help those in need and have sympathy for those who are less fortunate. They serve as a humble reminder of our interdependence and the potential of our individual deeds to shape the world in a good light. When we keep our faith and hope alive, we make an effort to be positive influences and bring joy to everyone we meet. Faith and hope become our north lights in times of transition, pointing us toward a future that is both unpredictable and full of opportunity. Regardless of the difficulties we face, they serve as a constant reminder that we are strong and resilient. As we venture into the unknown, let us cling to hope and let our faith to guide us. It is quite obvious that these ancient scriptures call us to introspection regarding our spiritual beliefs and readiness as we wrap up our examination of biblical prophecies concerning the New World Order and the rise of a world leader. Whether these predictions literally foretell impending world events or symbolically emphasize spiritual difficulties, they encourage us to be watchful, honest, and faithful in all that we do. It is advised that we seek out new knowledge, deepen our spiritual practices, and surround ourselves with caring others who share our spiritual beliefs. Having a strong spiritual basis becomes even more important during times of upheaval and uncertainty. It will help us stay true to ourselves and not be fooled by false teachings. Instead of being seen as just cautionary tales, may these conversations prompt us to strengthen our faith and dedication even more. We appreciate you coming along on this intellectually stimulating tour of biblical prophecy and its relevance to the present day. Get more videos like this by subscribing to our channel and sharing them with others you think might find this conversation on spirituality and prophecy interesting. Let us stay committed to each other while we pursue wisdom and enlightenment on our spiritual paths.